Alright.
The purpose of today's video is about how. Alright, the premise of today's video is about how progress isn't linear, and there's always going to be challenges in any goal that you want to achieve, whether it's something money related, something fitness related, whatever you do, there's always going to be a challenge. It's never going to be a straight line up. There's always going to be ups and downs. There's always going to be highs and lows, right? There's always going to be highs and lows. And where most people fail is when they get to those lows. When they're reaching higher highs, then they dip down. They take one dip, they get to a low. At that low, it's a higher low. You're higher than you were before. But people will start to give up at that higher low because they're seeing failure in what they thought they could succeed in. Now, when you see failure in something you see a future in, you start doubting it and you start having that self-doubt. Like, can I really even do this? Is this possible? So much other people can't do this. Why could I? And when that doubt starts to settle in, it's important that you never let it take over. That doubt should never outweigh the faith you have in yourself and the delusion you have that you're going to succeed. Letting that doubt creep into your mind even one bit while you're doing anything you want to do. Let's say you're freelance brand skip. Let's say you're doing that. Let's say you're trying to sign a client and you're talking to the client with doubt in your mind. You don't think you're gonna sign them. You're not gonna. It's the same thing. Say you're trading and you don't have faith in your strategy and you don't believe in your strategy. You're gonna miss your setup and your setup's gonna play out and you're gonna FOMO and you're gonna gamble. You're gonna overtrade, you're gonna over leverage. Now, what you do when you get to those higher lows is you take a step back, you look at what you did wrong and what you could do better to get to a higher high. So, let's say you just passed your first funded account, or you just found your first client. You know, we're very broad here, but let's stick with trading. Say you just passed your first funded. And you're so excited, you're so riled up to trade the next day. You're like, I'm about to get this payout, I'm so excited. Next day you go and place a trade. And let's say you leverage properly, let's say you followed your strategy, and you took a systematic loss that set you back, let's say $500 worth of drawdown. At that moment, it's important to never get emotional. It's important to never have that doubt in your mind. You're like, you don't take that loss and you're like, my strategy doesn't even work, why am I using it? And then you overtrade and over leverage until you've blown your account, right? The funded account you just worked so hard to pass. And at that point, when you blow that account, you're gonna want to give up and you're never gonna want to trade again. That's where the 95% fail. When they take that first step and fail on the first step, it's important that you push past that first step. Let's say you didn't take a systematic loss and you go on a winning streak in your funded account and you get your payout. Get your first payout. Let's say then you take a systematic loss. And then you blow your account because you've overtraded after that loss. If you can understand that loss is systematic and you don't overtrade or over leverage, that's good on you. That's good for you. That's good on you for even knowing that already without having to deal with the issue. But let's say you didn't deal with it properly, over leveraged, overtraded, and you blow the account, but you had a payout. That could put some it won't put doubt in your mind because you've seen that you could do it. So if somebody was very, what's it, the opposite of pessimistic? What is it? It doesn't matter. If someone's very confident in themselves, they'll be like, I've done it before, I'm gonna do it again. And that's exactly how you should think. Obviously, don't have an ego, but have that confidence in yourself and in your strategy. But let's say you don't have that confidence. You take that systematic loss, you overtrade, and you blow your account. That's when you'll give up. That's when you get to that, you hit a higher high, and then you hit that higher low. And that's where some other people's higher lows are. Some people, it's linear for most of the process. This is very few people, it's linear for most of the process. You're doing good for most of the process. And then you take a small dip. And those people who are doing good for a decent amount of time and take that small dip might just quit right there at that small dip. So people will have very little success going throughout the beginning and have a bunch of dips but keep going. Those people will always outlast the ones that quit at the higher low. That's about it for today's video. When you hit those higher lows, don't quit. That's the premise.